So yeah, years pass, like 3, 4 years pass, I think, and Logane's still there with Merrick. Logane, he goes up in the rank. He becomes eventually he becomes a commander, I think, commander of Merrick's army. He's knighted. Logane falls in love with Rowan, and Rowan is, she's just like, no, don't fall in love with me. I'm gonna have to marry Merrick one day. It's pointless. And Rowan thinks she's in love with Merrick, but they come across this elf, a bard, and she turns out to be a spy that's working for the usurper, but she pretends like she's part of the rebel army. So this is Catriel, and Catriel gains Merrick's trust. Merrick falls in love with her, and he doesn't know that she's a spy or anything like that. And Catriel starts to question herself, and she doesn't really want to betray him anymore, because she was supposed to pretty much turn Merrick into the usurper, like take him, so that they could do whatever they want to him, to kill him or whatever. But she starts to change her mind because she feels like she's probably falling in love with Merrick. And when Rowan finds out that Merrick falls in love with this elf, it kind of hurts her, because she's like, she thought she was in love with Merrick, but later she figures that it doesn't really make it very clear that Rowan falls in love with Logane, but it kind of hints to that. So yeah, it's this like huge love triangle thing, and they end up going to the deep roads. Rowan, Catriel, Merrick, and Logane, because they have to get from one place to another, and the usurper's army they like completely wiped out, not completely wiped it out, but almost wiped out the rebel army. And in order to save Merrick, Logane and Rowan took Merrick underground. They like took him to hide him, and the only way to get from one place to the city called Gweren, or the town called Gweren, which turns out to be the town that Logane is Tairn to, Tairn Logane. He's Tairn of Gweren, but the only way to get from there to there without getting captured by the Orlesians is to go through the deep roads. So they go to the deep roads, and they get lost, and they get attacked by these giant spiders, and they come in contact with this dark spawn. But then the Legion of the Dead, the dwarves, the Legion of the Dead come to their rescue, and the Legion of the Dead get them out of the deep road safely, and they end up fighting for the rebel army. So that's pretty much what the book is about. Just them three, or them four if you include Catriel, going through this journey together, and how the relationship between the three of them is changing and affecting each other, and just it's changing them, especially Merrick. Merrick, he started off very naive, very innocent, and he ends up becoming very mature and but not so much because of experience, but more because of pain and suffering and that kind of thing. He ends up having to, I won't go into too much of the ending, but he ends up having to do some things in the end that he ends up regretting, and there's kind of like this blame that that falls on Logane, on Rowan's part and on Merrick's part. So the relationship that Merrick, Rowan, and Logane had in the beginning changes at the end of the book. They kind of grow distant. Rowan and Merrick end up getting married, but not so much because of love, but more for Ferelden. Like Logane tells Rowan, you have to marry Merrick. You're his queen. And Rowan says, what if I don't want to be his queen? And Loghain says, then be the Queen of Ferelden. And at the very end, Kaelin comes out. I think he's I don't remember how old Merrick or Kaelin is at the end. He's a little kid. He's no more than, I don't think he's older than 10, maybe. If you remember in Dragon Age Origins, Loghain is known as the hero of River Dane, I think. River Dane? Yeah, I think it's River Dane. And this is where that happens. This is when Loghain becomes the hero of River Dane. In the last battle, they don't really go into the last battle, but Merrick goes to the usurper's camp, kills the usurper's trusty advisor, this one mage, kills him, and they don't really go into what happens to he kills him personally. Merrick kills this mage personally because it had something to do with Catriel. I won't go too into it, but he kills him face to face, and they don't kill the usurper, I think, until 2 or 3 years later. But Rowan and Loghain, while Merrick is doing this, Rowan and Loghain go against the Orlesian army. With the rebel army, of course. They go against the Orlesian army, and this is the Battle of River Dane. But like I said, my favorite thing about the book is the interactions between the characters. It's a lot of times it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to see the interaction between Merrick and Loghain, because Merrick is very lively, charismatic, goofy, funny guy. I mean, imagine Kaelin and Alistair. That's what Merrick is like. And Loghain is the complete opposite. He's a somber, serious, grim person that likes to be in silence, and Merrick is constantly talking to him or constantly telling him to tell him a story or something like that, and Logan's like... So I love the interactions between Merrick and Loghain, and just how their relationship changes and grows when Loghain really wanted to tear his guts out because he blamed Merrick for his father's death. And then at the end, there's this distance between them. So I really grew to love Loghain in this book because David Gator did a really good job about letting us know who Loghain is and why he thinks the way he thinks in Dragon Age Origins. One thing that you really get to understand about Loghain is how much he hates the Orlesians. He hates the Orlesians so much that in Dragon Age Origins they say, I think it's Honora, his daughter, says that he hates them so much that it's kind of corrupted him. It's kind of like this obsession now that has led him to do things that are kind of questionable. So one of the reasons why Loghain hates the Orlesians is because of what he went through these years between or with Merrick and the Orlesian army. Just the fights, the battles that they had between the rebels and the Orlesians. He just ended up hating them, but he already hated them because of what they did to his mother. It doesn't clearly say how old Loghain is, but he's not young. He's not a little boy or anything, but he's not old. He's maybe, I imagined him being maybe like 12. I don't think he's older than 15 when this happens, but I don't think he's younger than, say, 10 when this happens. Back when they used to be farmers, the Orlesians came to their farm and raped his mother. They raped his mother and they made him watch. Him and his father watch. And Loghain says that he could just hear his father like going crazy, and he could see his mother screaming and everything. And it just really, really, I mean, could you imagine? That just freaking traumatized Loghain. And they were holding back his father, like making him watch, and he was going crazy. He couldn't stop it. And then after they raped his mother, they killed her. But that's one of the biggest reasons why Loghain hates the Orlesians is because of what they did to his mother. They raped her and they killed her, and they made him watch. So that just gives you a better understanding of Loghain, and it also gives you an understanding of there's a lot of hints in the book that where you're like, oh, that's probably why. Where it just really makes you understand why he left during the battle in Dragon Age Origins, where he made the decision to not go and leave, instead to flee, and everybody else died. There's a lot of occasions in this book where it's very, very similar to that. And Loghain says, oh, if I was in that position, I would have left, or I would have made the hard decision, to save more instead of sacrificing them. And you're just like, it's exactly what he ended up doing in Origins. And there's this part where pretty much what the position where Kaylin was in, Loghain was in that position, where they split up in groups, and Loghain's group went to fight the Orlesians in one area. One area that there was them, and it was like 30 soldiers in Loghain, and the rest of the group, which was Rowan, Merrick, and all them, they were in another area. It was done to buy the other part of the army where Merrick was, buy them time. So that's why Loghain went with this other group. It was like a distraction. And they had said, at this point, or this specific point, don't worry, we'll go help you. Rowan said that to Loghain. I'll take a group and we'll go help you, and we'll just take him out. So Loghain's like, all right, let's do this. So they go. Loghain is over here with 30 soldiers fighting their legions, and Rowan, Merrick, and Rowan's father, the Arl. And Rowan, she's the sister. Her two brothers, are Eamon and Tegan, if you remember them from Dragon Age Origins. Arl Eamon, he's the one that raised Alistair, and Tegan is, what was he? Ban? He was a Ban. Ban Tegan. They were in Origins. They are Rowan's brothers. So just so you know who they are. But Rowan's father, Arl Rendorn, is the one that's leading the army over here with Merrick and Rowan. And they're fighting, and they're Arl Rendorn, Rowan's father, he says, we've got to go. We've got to, retreat, because they're going to kill us. They're going to kill Merrick. And Rowan's like, no, we've got to go help Loghain. And Arl Rendorn's like, no, we're not gonna risk the army to go save them, because it's just like 30 soldiers. And he's just like, no, we have to save the bulk of the army and Merrick, which is exactly what was going on in Origins. So Rowan is like, are you freaking kidding me? You're just gonna let them die? And Arl Rendorn's like, that's how this is. You've got to think of the bigger picture. And Arl Rendorn he leaves in front of the army, and Rowan takes a group to Loghain. She's like, screw that. And she goes to Loghain to help him. And Arl Rendorn doesn't find out till later, but she takes a big part of the army to go help Loghain. And Loghain, while he's fighting over here in this area with these 30 soldiers and all these Orlesians, Loghain's thinking, they're not going to come for me. They're not going to come help us. And he says to himself, if I was in their position, I wouldn't come either. So it goes back to Origins. You're just like, that's exactly what he ended up doing. So it really makes you understand the way that Loghain thinks. But in this case, they did go help him. And Loghain's completely surprised. He's like, I can't believe you came to help us. I didn't think you guys were going to come. But they help him, they kill their legions, and then they go back and join the bulk of the army. Like I said, it makes you understand why he did it. Or at least know what he was thinking of in that moment. For what he's gone through in the past, and why that's more important to him. So that's pretty much it. I'm reading the second book, The Calling. This one, I'm not too far on it. I just started reading it, but this one's really good too, so far at least. And I think it's gonna be really. I'm really really looking forward to reading more of it because this one has. It starts off with Logane, Merrick, and young, very very young Duncan. So I'm really 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 excited to read this one because I love Duncan, and he's really young in this book. It's been like 6 months since he joined the Grey Wardens. There's 6 other Grey Wardens, which are really cool. One of them is like this hunter with a dog. Another one is an elf mage. There's a dwarf, a female dwarf. She's one of the, I can't remember the name of the group, the sisters, the ones that don't talk on Dragon Age Origins, the silent sisters or whatever the hell they're called. They don't talk. I think because they had cut their tongue out or something like that. She's like one of the Grey Wardens. There's two warriors that well, there's this really quiet warrior and another one that's always with him. But yeah, it's really really cool. So I can't wait to finish reading this. I will do a review on this one because I think these books, and then there's another one after this, of course. It's called Asunder. I don't have that one yet, but I'm going to be reading that one too. But I'll make a review on all of them because these books are worth reading. They're really really, they're a really fun read. The stories are interesting, but I like them more for their character development. It's very much like Dragon Age. So that's why I really, really love them. Just the character interactions and the character development is very, very interesting to me. So, and fun. It's fun to read. But yeah, Dragon Age: The Stolen Throne, definitely do recommend it for any Dragon Age fan. And for people that like to read, of course. If you don't like to read, then I don't know if you would... I would still recommend it, but if you don't like to read, I don't know, because I love to read. I don't know what it's like not to like to read. That's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. I will talk to you guys later.